Metropolis by Thea Von Harbou. Part 11. It was 1 hour after midnight. Joe Fredison came to his mother's house. It was a farmhouse, one-storied, thatch-roofed, overshadowed by a walnut tree, and it stood upon the flat back of one of the stone giants not far from the cathedral. A garden full of lilies and hollyhocks, full of sweet peas and poppies and nasturtiums, wound itself about the house. Joe Fredison's mother had only one son, and him she had very dearly loved. But the master over the great metropolis, the master of the machine city, the brain of the new Tower of Babel, had become a stranger to her, and she hostile to him. She had tried to look on once and see how one of Joe Fredison's machine titans crushed men as though they were dried up wood. She had screamed to God. He had not heard her. She fell to the ground and never got up again. Only head and hands retained their vitality in the paralyzed body, but the strength of a legion blazed in her eyes. She opposed her son and the work of her son, but he did not let her alone. He forced her to him. When she angrily vowed she wished to live in her house, under the thatched roof with its vault, the walnut tree, until her dying day, he transplanted house and tree and gaily blossoming garden to the flat roof of the stone house giant, which lay between the cathedral and the new Tower of Babel. The walnut tree ailed 1 year long, and then it became green again. The garden blossomed, a wonder of beauty, about the house. When Joe Fredison entered this house, he came from sleepless nights and evil days. He found his mother, as he always found her, sitting in the wide, soft chair by the open window, the dark rug over the now paralyzed knees, the great Bible on the sloping table before her. In the beautiful old hands the delicate figured lace at which she was sewing, and, as ever, when he came to her she silently laid aside the fine work and folded her hands firmly in her lap as though she must collect all her will and every thought for the few minutes which the great son spent with his mother. They did not shake hands. They did not do that any more. "How are you, mother?" asked Joe Fredison. She looked at him with eyes in which gleamed the strength of a heavenly legion. She asked, "What is it you want, Joe?" He sat down opposite her and laid his forehead in his hands. There was nobody in the great metropolis, not anywhere else on earth, who could have boasted ever having seen Joe Fredison with sunken brow. "I need your advice, mother," he said, looking at the floor. The mother's eyes rested on his hair. "How shall I advise you, Joe? You have taken a path along which I cannot follow you, not with my head and certainly not with my heart. Now you are so far away from me that my voice can no longer reach you, Joe. Would you listen to me were I to say to you, 'Turn back'? You did not do it then, and would not do it today. Besides, all too much has been done which cannot be undone. You have done all too much wrong, Joe, and do not repent, but believe yourself to be in the right. How can I advise you then?" "It's about Freda, mother." "About Freda?" "Yes." "What about Freda?" Joe Fredison did not answer immediately. His mother's hands trembled greatly, and if Joe Fredison had looked up, the fact could not have remained hidden from him. But Joe Fredison's forehead remained sunken upon his hands. "I had to come to you, mother, because Hell is no longer alive." "And of what did she die?" "I know of me. You have made it clear to me, mother, often and cruelly, and you have said I had poured boiling wine into a crystal. Then the most beautiful of glass must crack, but I do not repent it, mother. No, I do not repent it, for hell was mine, and died of it. Yes, had she never been mine, perhaps she would still be alive. Better that she should be dead. She is Joe, and Freda is her son. What do you mean by that, mother? If you did not know, just as well as I, Joe, you would not have come to me today. Joe Fredison was silent. Through the open window the rustling of the walnut tree was to be heard, a dreamy, touching sound. Freda often comes to you, mother, doesn't he? Asked Joe Fredison. Yes. He comes to you for aid against me. He is in great need of it, Joe. Silence. Then Joe Fredison raised his head. His eyes looked as though sprinkled with purple. I have lost hell, mother, he said. I can't lose Freda too. Have you reason to fear that you will lose him? Yes. Then I am surprised, said the old lady, that Freda has not yet come to me. He is very ill, mother. The old lady made a movement as though wishing to rise, and into her archangel eyes there came an angry glitter. When he came here recently, she said, he was as healthy as a tree in bloom. What ails him? Joe Fredison got up and began to walk up and down the room. He smelt the perfume of flowers streaming up from the garden through the open window as something inflicting pain which ripped his forehead into lines. I do not know, he said suddenly, quite disjointedly, how this girl could have stepped into his life. I do not know how she won this monstrous hold over him, but I heard from his own lips how he said to her, my father no longer has a son, Maria. Freda does not lie, Joe, so you've lost him already. Joe Fredison did not answer. He thought of Rotwang. He had said the same words to him. Is it about this that you have come to me, Joe? Asked the mother. Then you could have spared yourself the trouble. Freda is hell's son. Yes, that means he has a soft heart, but he is yours too, Joe. That means he has a skull of steel. You know best, Joe, how much obstinacy a man can sum up to attain to the woman he wants. You cannot make that comparison, mother. Freda is almost a boy still. When I took hell to me, I was a man, and I knew what I was doing. Hell was more needful to me than to air to breathe. I could not do without hell, mother. I would have stolen her from the arms of God himself. From God, Joe, you can steal nothing, but something can be stolen from man. You have done that. You have sinned, Joe. You have sinned towards your friend. For hell loved Rotwang. It was you who compelled her. When she was dying, mother, she loved me. Yes. When she saw that you too were a man, when your head was beating against the floor and you were crying out. But do you believe, Joe, that this one smile in her dying hour outweighs all that which brought about her death? Leave me my belief, mother. Delusion. Joe Fredison looked at his mother. I should very much like to know, he said with a darkened voice, on what you feed your cruelty towards me, mother. On my fears for you, Joe. On my fears. You need not have no fears for me, mother. Oh, yes, Joe. Oh, yes, your sin walks behind you like a good dog on the trail. It does not lose your scent, Joe. It remains always and always at your back. A friend is unarmed against his friend. He has no shield before his breast, no armor before his heart. A friend who believes in his friend is a defenseless man. A defenseless man was it whom you betrayed, Joe. I have paid for my sin, Mother. Hell is dead. Now I have only Freda left. That is her legacy. I will not give up Hell's legacy. I have come to you to beg of you, Mother, help me to win Freda back. The old lady's eyes were fixed on him, sparklingly. What did you answer me, Joe, when I wanted to stop you on your way to hell? I don't remember, but I do, Joe. I still remember every syllable. You said, I don't hear a word you say. I only hear hell. If I were to be blinded, I should still see hell. If I were to be paralyzed, with paralyzed feet, I should still find my way to hell. Freda is your son. What do you think, Joe? He would answer me were I to say to him, give up this girl you love. Joe Fredison was silent. Take care, Joe, said the old mother. I know what it means when your eyes grow cold as now, and when you grow as pale as one of the stones of the wall. You have forgotten that lovers are sacred. Even if they are mistaken, Joe, their mistake itself is sacred. Even if they are fools, Joe, their folly itself is sacred. For where lovers are, there is God's garden, and no one else has the right to drive them out, not even God, only their own sin. I must have my son back, said Joe Fredison. I had hoped you would help me, and you would certainly have been the gentlest means I could have chosen, but you will not, and now I must seek another means. Freda is ill, you say? He will get well again. So you will continue in your way? Yes. I believe, Joe, that hell would weep were she to hear you. Perhaps, but hell is dead. Well, come here to me, Joe. I will give you a word to take with you on your way, which you cannot forget. It's easy to retain. Joe Fredison hesitated. Then he walked up to his mother. She laid her hand on the Bible which lay before her. Joe Fredison read, Whatsoever a man soweth, then shall he reap. Joe Fredison turned round. He walked through the room. His mother's eyes followed him. As he turned towards her, suddenly, violently, with a violent word on his lips, he found the gaze of her eyes set upon him. They could hide themselves no longer, and neither did they wish to. Such an almighty love in their tear-washed depths that Joe Fredison believed himself to see his mother today for the first time. They looked at each other for a long time in silence. Then the man stepped up to his mother. I'm going now, Mother, he said, and I don't believe I shall ever come to you again. She did not answer. It seemed as though he wanted to stretch out his hand to her, but halfway he let it drop again. For whom are you crying, Mother? He asked. For Freda or for me? For you both, said the mother. For you both, Joe. He stood in silence, and the struggle of his heart was in his face. Then, without giving his mother another look, he turned around and went out of the house, over which the walnut tree rustled. It was midnight, and no light was burning. Only through the window there felt the radiance of the city, lying like a pale gleam upon the face of the girl, who sat leaning back against the wall, without moving, with closed eyelids, her hand in her lap. Will you never answer me? Asked the great inventor. Stillness, silence, immobility. You are colder than stone, harder than any stone. The tip of your finger must cut through the diamond as though it was water. I do not implore your love. What does a girl know of love? Her unstormed fortresses, her unopened paradises, her sealed up books, whom no one ever knows but the God who wrote them. What do you know of love? Women know nothing of love either. What does light know of light? Flame of burning. What do the stars know of the laws by which they wander? You must ask chaos, coldness, darkness, the internal, undeemed which wrestles for the redemption of itself. You must ask the man what love is. The hymn of heaven is only composed in hell. I do not implore your love, Maria, but your pity, your motherly one, with a virgin face. Stillness, silence, immobility. I hold you captive. Is that my fault? I do not hold you captive for myself, Maria. Above you and me there is a will which forces me into being evil. Have pity on him who must be evil, Maria. All the springs of good within me are choked up. I thought them to be dead, but they are only buried alive. My being is a rock of darkness, but deep within the sandstone I hear the springs rushing. If I defy the will which is above you and me, if I destroy the work I created after your image, it would only be what Joe Fredison deserves, and it would be better for me. He has ruined me, Maria. He has ruined me. He stole the woman from me who was mine and whom I loved. I do not know if her soul was ever with me, but her pity was with me and made me good. Joe Fredison took the woman from me. He made me evil. He who grudged the stone, the imprint of her shoe, made me evil to take her pity from me. Hell is dead, but she loved him. What a fearful law it is by which the beings of light turn themselves to those of darkness. But pass by those in the shade. Be more merciful than hell was, Maria. I will defy the will which is above you and me. I will open the doors for you. You will be able to go where you list, and nobody shall stop you. But would you remain with me of your own free will, Maria? I long to be good. Will you help me? Silence, stillness, immobility. Neither do I implore your pity, Maria. There is nothing on earth more incompassionate than a woman who only loves one single being. You cool murderesses in the name of love. You goddesses of death with your smile. The hands of your beloved are cold. You ask, shall I warm your hands for your beloved? You do not wait for his yes. You set fire to a city. You burn down a kingdom so that you can warm the hands of your beloved at its blaze. You rise up and pluck from the heavens of the world its most radiant stars without caring that you destroy the universe and put the dance of the eternal out of balance. Do you want such stars, beloved? And if he says no, then you let the stars fall. Oh, your blessed harm-doers, you may step fearfully inviolable before the throne of God and say, get up, creator of the world. I need the throne of the world for my beloved. You do not see who dies by your side if only the one is living. A drop of blood on the finger of your beloved frightens you more than the destruction of a continent. All this I know and have never possessed it. No, I do not call upon your pity, Maria, but I call upon your fidelity. Still, silence, immobility. Do you know the subterranean city of the dead? There used a girl called Maria, nightly to call her brothers together. Her brothers wear the blue linen uniform, the black caps, the hard shoes. Maria spoke to her brothers of a mediator who would come to deliver them. The mediator between the brain and the hands must be the heart. Wasn't it so? The brothers of the girl believed in the girl. They waited. They waited long, but the mediator did not come, and the girl did not come. She sent no message. She was not to be found, but the brothers believed in the girl, for they had found her as true as gold. She will come, they said. She will come again. She is faithful. She will not leave us alone. She said the mediator would come. Now he must come. Let us be patient and let us wait. But the mediator did not come, and the girl did not come. The mystery of the brothers has grown from day to day. Where once 1,000 murmured, now murmured 10,000. They will no more be fed with hope. They languish for fight, for destruction, for ruin, for downfall. And even the believers, even the patient ones ask, where is Maria? Can it be that gold is faithless? Will you leave them without an answer, Maria? Stillness, silence, immobility. You are silent. You are very obstinate. But now I shall tell you something which will surely break your obstinacy. Do you think I am holding you captive here for fun? Do you think Joe Fredderson knew no other way of getting you out of his son's sight than shutting you up behind the Solomon seals on my door? Oh no, Maria. Oh no, my beautiful Maria. We have not been idle in all these days. We have stolen your beautiful soul from you, your sweet soul, that tender smile of God. I have listened to you as the air has listened to you. I have seen you very angry and in the depths of despair. I have seen you burning and dull as the earth. I have listened to you praying to God and have cursed God because he did not hear you. I have intoxicated myself with your helplessness. Your pitiful weeping has made me drunken. As one reeling, I became a thief of you, Maria. I created you anew. I became your second God. I have stolen you absolutely. In the name of Joe Fredderson, the master over the great Metropolis, I have stolen your ego from you, Maria. And this stolen ego, your other self, sent a message to your brothers, calling them by night to the city of the dead, and they all came. Then you spoke to them before. You spoke for peace, but Joe Fredderson does not want peace anymore. Do you see? He wants the decision. The hour has come. Your stolen ego may not speak for peace anymore. The mouth of Joe Fredderson speaks from out it, and among your brothers there will be only one who loves you and who will not realize, who will not doubt you, Maria. Only just give me your hands, Maria. Only your hands, no more. I do not ask for more. Your hands must be wondrous. Pardon is the name of the right, redemption of the left. If you give me your hands, I will go with you into the city of the dead so that you can warn your brothers, so that you can unmask your stolen ego, so that the one who loves you finds you again and does not have to doubt you. Did you say anything, Maria? He heard the soft weeping of the girl. He fell where he stood upon his knees. He wanted to drag himself along on his knees to the girl, and suddenly stopped still. He listened. He stared. He said in a voice which was almost like a shriek in its wide-awake attention, "Maria? Maria, don't you hear? There's a strange man in the room." "Yes," said the quiet voice of Joe Fredderson. And then the hands of Joe Fredderson seized the throat of Rotwang, the great inventor. End of part 11. If you are enjoying these audiobooks, please take the time to subscribe, press like, leave a comment, or share this channel with your friends who also enjoy listening to audiobooks. This would help this channel immensely. Thanks.